Hoopstrology podcast, brought to you by the Bayou City. I'm one of your hosts, Jesus Acevedo Jr. The next voice you hear will be from my co-host, and let's be honest, the only reason there is even a Hoopstrology podcast, the Zodiac GM.
Hey, what's going on? And welcome. What's up?
What's up, Zodiac GM? You know, I hate that we're coming to listeners almost a week after Boston Celtics won the championship, but I came down with the cold, and yeah, you guys would now have been able to really understand me.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, Jason Tatum finally got his ring, so
Jason Tatum finally got his ring, but you know what? Not even Jason Tatum, the Boston Celtics, and that's what we're starting today with the Boston Celtics winning their 18th championship, right? They are no longer tied with the Los Angeles Lakers, and I think it's a culmination of how to build a team the right way, right? They didn't trade for no superstars. They tried, right? They traded for Kyrie Irving, right, for the superstar, and that didn't work out. You know, so to me, that's the first thing that stood out to me. Was like, wow, this was a team that was built the right way through the draft, making the right draft picks, having those players develop in your system, and then trading those for future players that ended up helping, like Drew Holiday. How important was that pickup, you know? And I definitely want to speak about him more. But those are my very first impressions. Once I lifted the trophy, I was like, it felt good to see a team built the right way through the draft, win the title. Those were my first impressions. What were yours, Zodiac?
Exactly, and you got to respect that. I mean, Boston over the years, as you've seen, they've made so many changes, but they've kept the core intact. I mean, they went from even Kemba Walker. I mean, did you know he was here? He was at one point a Boston Celtic. You know, Marcus Smart. I mean, Kyrie Irving, of course.
Robert Williams,
Gordon Hayward, Robert Williams, and Brogdon. It's like they've made so many changes, but that's the thing. Like, they weren't afraid to change because they kept on trying to find the right piece of the puzzle or the right combination. And at one point where they finally end up getting Derek White, I thought was the key. And I think that's solidified their strong foundation. And then, now with Drew Holiday in the mix, Porzingis in the mix. I mean, it was just a really, really good match for this team.
Yeah, it's and how many times do we hear over the years Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown came play together? Countless times. Right, like how many times they were like every time they were flown out in the Western Conference Finals. I think they made it there as their first or 2 years. And in the first 3 years together, they made it to the Western Conference Finals. With the hurt Kyrie Irving, who didn't get to play much. But yeah, it's a testament to what the Celtics believed and the team that they were building. And I think you're right about that Derek White pickup. That happened 3 seasons ago, I think, was it? And that season was the year they also made the finals and they lost to the Warriors. Was it what? 2 seasons ago? 3 seasons ago?
Yeah. That was a great pickup. I mean, he sort of completed that synergy that's been that I look for in particular, and I think that's that kind of what moved them to the next level. Because when Udoka was coaching that team, was it several years ago, they were like even a 500 team. They were struggling, And once they got Derek White, I mean, you saw the shift in just the wins just piling up and everything just started clicking. They eventually made it to the finals. But yeah, I mean, it's stuff like this. I mean, just because a team would have good synergy or even not, I mean, there's so many ways you can even reach the NBA finals, but it just shows you how hard it is to even win it all. I mean, Denver Nuggets have great synergy, but they didn't win this year. But they won it last year. But look at the Boston Celtics; they've kept this core for a strong 7 years. In particular with Tatum and Brown. And the 7th year, they finally got one. Same thing with Giannis in Milwaukee. So that goes to show how competitive it is in the NBA. And yeah, I mean, synergy or not, I mean, you still have to play hard. You still have to, have great coaches to do the job. But, synergy, as I mentioned always, is that it's only a small piece of the puzzle, a small ingredient of everything else, but it could be used as a strong advantage for chemistry. So, Boston finally got one, and you got to give them a thumbs up for that.
And another reason I love the culmination of this Boston Celtics was this season they were one of the best defensive teams all season long. Mm-hmm. And if you look at these finals, they shut down what some sports commentators were calling the best backcourt in NBA history. At one point, or the most offensive backcourt. Which look, they're definitely up there, right? They're definitely to be talked about, right? But it showed what sometimes good defense can overcome great offense. And I think what was about the Celtics is it wasn't one individual. I mean, you could point to different times when different individual Celtics, whether it be Jaylen Brown, White, Holiday, Al Horford, they made defensive plays, but as a whole, as a team, they knew where to move on the court, right? They knew where each other's person was. Like they knew they're picking at the right times. And there's a soccer term called second balls, right? That means that when the first ball is kicked into an area, it gets defended, but the second ball doesn't get defended well. So I like to think about that too in basketball. How many extra possessions where offensive rebounds were just like tip outs that, a Boston Celtics player just kind of tipped it out. So nobody could get the rebound, but he tipped it out to where some of the Boston players were at. So we got a second possession, right? Like second ball in soccer, And if listeners are wondering why I'm talking about soccer, because I cover soccer a lot. I cover the Houston Dynamo. Check it out, thebicegame.com. And there's the plug. But yeah, so one thing I noticed is one person I want to think about is Drew Holiday. He was everywhere on the court where he was just getting his ball on his hand on the ball and just creating those second and third possessions, on one trip down the floor for the Boston Celtics. And I think really that's where the game was won in those multiple possessions that the Boston Celtics have compared to Dallas. Dallas, how often was it one trip and that's it? One trip, Lucas solo, miss or make, but it was just that one possession that they often got compared to the Boston Celtics.
You're right. And so, yeah, they've really completed a lot of those with the possessions. But what's one player that's really surprised me is Al Horford. I mean,
yes.
The way he's played is just, what is he, 37, 38? He's playing. The way he guards, his veteran leadership is just amazing, and that's what's very helpful. Him also being a Gemini, like yourself,
give it up.
It was being able to adapt on any scenario as well, which was a huge part. And of course,
it's so crazy.
Gemini, Gemini, Drew Holiday.
Drew Holiday. But the big thing about our Herfer and what speaks to him being a Gemini, being a mutual sign, is he told the coach, hey. After they signed Kristaps Porzingis, he says, hey, I'll come off the bench, because he knew how important having Kristaps Porzingis scoring on the court will help them. He knew he was going to get his minutes too. Come on, let's not kid ourselves. He knew that he was going to get playing time no matter what. But yeah, man, 38 years old. He's 3 years younger than me, and I'm over here struggling sometimes.
There you go. Yeah, and that goes to show that energy that they have. And I think someone had mentioned this the other day. Someone talked about how Drew Holiday went to the Boston Celtics and ended up winning a championship, and then the Bucks got Dame Lillard, and they couldn't win a championship. And it's it's much Drew Holiday, better player, et cetera, right? But the way I looked at it is that Drew Holiday is just a more adaptable type of player, whereas Dame Lillard, being a cardinal sign of a Cancer, Aries, Moon, the team has to sort of adapt around him, because cardinal players are more like leaders. So they lead. That's just their energy type. They're not the type to really adapt to anyone. You kind of have to lead, towards his energy. So I think that was a challenge that Milwaukee faced, but it was a much easier transition for a player like Drew Holiday because of his energy. And as you could tell, he didn't, he did his thing. He got his numbers, and it was a smooth transition. You don't really hear much of anything about Drew Holiday, not fitting in or anything like that, because he was a good fit, So that's a big deal for teams to kind of recognize that, because, if you want certain individuals thinking that they're going to fit, that's one thing to consider,
Here's another, and this will be we're going to wrap the bow on the Boston Celtics. Congratulations to them one again. When the Philadelphia Sixers started the process moving, like trust the process, the first trade they made was trading Drew Holiday to the New Orleans Pelicans. And now Drew Holiday is a two-time champion. And the 76ers haven't made it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
I totally forgot about that. Wow.
Like, Drew Holiday played with AI. Like I hope you know that.
Oh my God, Drew Holiday's been around, man. She's just like a chameleon. Like he's just wow. That was a good that was a good note right there. So
That was a good
yeah,
note. A good note. But yeah, so as you know, we mentioned the Boston Celtics. They won their 18th title. They break the tie with the Los Angeles Lakers, and that's where we're going with the Los Angeles Lakers now because Zodiac they made the hire, JJ Redick. You know, and before we get into how he's gonna match with the current team, which I think we're both in agreement. This team is not staying how it is currently, right? There's a couple pieces staying. The
yeah,
rest, you better pack your bags, get your bags ready just in case. You never know. But
yeah.
before that, I would say I think I do take an issue with somebody, and it's not I'm saying because of JJ Ray, just somebody with whose coaching experience was coaching his kids, PB basketball or YMC, whatever it was, no previous coaching experience. He's a smart man. He looks like it looks and sounds like he knows his X's and O's.
Right.
But I think there was definitely some great candidates out there. One that I feel is just due and it irks me, but because he's my guy, Sam Cassell, who just won a title with the Boston Celtics. That he hasn't had one head coaching job. It irks me. It's like, and he's not the only one, right? But that's just what I want to say right off the bat. So like that, I feel it would have been good for somebody else to get that opportunity. So
that's true, and that's a great point. I think a lot of these hires, I think they base it off personality, right? And the thing that JJ Redick has, he has that. He has that leader quality in him. And it oozes, like you can just get a sense of his leadership. I mean, him being a Cancer with a Taurus moon. I mean, again, Cancers are a cardinal sign. They're natural leaders of emotional. So he's an emotional type of leader. So when you talk to him, he knows this stuff. Cancers are one of the smartest, and also they have really good memories. Okay. Cancers have one of the best memories as far as in the zodiac. So they're really good in their X's and O's. They're really good with the history. They're really good with knowing things on point because of their memory capacity, right? So if you bring that in a basketball sense, he can remember plays left and right here and there. He can remember the routines of something. He can remember a lot of things. And that also brings a lot of leverage to his leadership quality. And I think when someone like Rob Pelinka looks at him, or the Lakers organization looks at him, they view a lot of leader qualities, right? Now, that doesn't take anything away from Sam Cassell because, yeah, he is a Scorpio, right? But the Scorpio, the nature of the fixed signs, they're more if you want to make a stability and kind of for like the way Charles Lee was for the Hornets. He's also a Scorpio, right? So they bring that stability and that bring that culture in. So there's different type of leaders. Not saying that Sam Cassell is not a leader or anything like that. It's just a persona when you kind of meet someone and you kind of feel that energy. And I think that's the thing that JJ Redick has. You've seen it in his podcast. You've seen it when he talks about the games. He just has that confidence as well. Another thing about his energy combination is that they don't rattle too easy. They are very confident, and you can get a sense of that when he did his press conference today. I mean, he's a confident man. So that's something that an organization would like to have, someone that can lead, someone that's confident, and that one can also hold his ground towards the media and everyone else around him. So yeah.
It's interesting to thanks on obviously JJ Redick has been a lot on all over Twitter, X, whatever, on feed, a lot of interviews. Reading some of the tweets from Laker fans, you can tell that they've already almost bought in, that they say, wow, like it's so refreshing to have a coach speak like that, or, just the way he was carrying himself, very different from Darvin Ham, right? He was a bit more serious, more, business-like. And I'm not saying JJ Redick isn't, right? But he seems more open, more energetic, right? Going to what you're saying about him being a Cancer. And then here's another thing where I'm going to trip you up, right? Cancers are crabs. Right, that is their in sign. Crabs apparently have really high, sophisticated memory abilities.
Bingo. There you go. There you go.
What you will.
There you go. And guess. Okay, Joe Mazzulla, now NBA champion of the Boston Celtics, also a Cancer, double cardinal
Oh,
Cancer with the
there you go.
Capricorn moon. So, hey, take that as what it is. So,
Take that for what
yeah.
it is.
But here's
And
the thing, though, real quick. With Sam Cassell, he'll be a good match to team up with JJ Redick, believe it or not, because Sam Cassell's an energy that JJ Redick needs.
mm,
That Cancer Scorpio relationship is strong. And now if Sam Cassell could join the Lakers, I think that would be a plus. And also another player, I mean, I call him player, but also another candidate is Rondo, Rajon Rondo, Pisces. I
yeah,
mean, you have
yeah.
the trifecta of the water elements right there. If they both can join, it would be even stronger. So yeah.
Speaking of coaches, the Cleveland Cavaliers just made a hire for their coach, Kenny Atkinson, who I've always been a fan of. Kenny Atkinson, they hired him to be their next head coach. The Cavaliers exit in the second round. We're gonna see a different Cavs team for sure next season. There's a lot of rumors flying around. Donovan Mitchell still, hasn't been hasn't decided exactly what he's gonna do, but on the surface, with the current team as it is, how does before we even get to roster, just what kind of coach would Kenny Atkinson be? I think remember he has a Gemini moon or a Gemini sun. I know he has some Gemini moon, but can you tell us what
Oh,
kind of coach Kenny Atkinson will be, based on the sign?
Atkinson. So Atkinson is a Gemini.
Oh
Hey,
yes,
there you go.
yeah.
Gemini with an Aries moon.
Ooh,
So
fiery.
exactly, and that's a very unique combination. I mean, you're going to get a great communicator, right? So that one, someone that's going to have a lot of clarity in the way he communicates. So there won't be any issue with any of that, right? So the players will get it. They'll know what he wants. Okay, so he's going to have his vision. He's going to have his game plan. He's going to have everything to go along with it. So he's going to have that fiery personality as well. They are a little bit impulsive. He can have a little bit of a temper, but hey, that's part of what his energy brings. But the thing about Atkinson is that there's players that needs his type of energy, that fiery type of energy, and someone that can part of the Gemini, as you know, they say it how it is.
Mm-hmm.
Look at
Yeah.
Draymond Green. He has a Gemini moon. They're very blunt, and sometimes that's a good thing. Where players need that sort of criticism to realize certain things, to open their eyes. That's the type of coach that Kenny Atkinson's going to bring to this type of organization. And him being the Geminis are adaptable, so they're very adaptable as well. So I feel like he's always been a great coach. He just needs to find the right team. And I think with the Cavaliers, they have a bunch of energies that will actually fit him and favor him. But there's one energy that sort of may conflict, but the good thing about it is they're both mutable, and that's always a good thing, right? And
Yeah.
that's with Donovan Mitchell. But
Ooh.
I'm curious to see how that's going to play out, because Donovan Mitchell, he's a Virgo with a Cancer moon, right? Same as James Harden, right? So they're a little bit. They do have the way they think about, because he hasn't signed an extension yet. The way they make decisions, one, they make emotional decisions, right? They want to be in a place long term where they know the city, the fans, the organization is going to back them up. It's sort of like that nurturing, they want that family love, right? So he's going to factor that in. Of course, he's looking at straight at Atkinson right now to see if his energy is something that he would like to be around for long term, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious to see what's going to happen, or if he's going to end up signing or not. But guess what? Finally, Darius Garland has the right coach for him. And now
Oh,
I feel like, in my opinion, people will actually get to see the side of Darius Garland, which I think his true potential will actually, because I felt like he was limited. I mean, I still don't know how it's going to play out with him still playing with Mitchell, but I feel like playing with Mitchell sort of limited his potential. But also, a player like Evan Mobley fits him. A player like Max Strus fits him. Coro fits him. Niang, and even Imana Bates. The player that hasn't even played a lot. A lot of fans would like for him to play more, and he fits. They all fit. Atkinson's energy. So yeah. So it's a good signing for them.
I'm interested to see, how much input Donovan had, if any, right, on this coaching
Hmm.
hire. Because I've heard rumors both ways. He's leaving, he's staying, he hasn't decided. So I'm interested to see. And yeah, you mentioned Darius Garland. Yeah, he's an Aquarius, so he'll
Aquarius,
definitely
yes.
click with the Gemini. One of my best friends is an Aquarius, so I can definitely attest to that,
There it
right?
goes. Hmm.
So, but I think either way, I trust the hire of Kenny Atkinson. I feel he's another one of those that has had a lot of opportunities. No, sorry, that hasn't had a lot of coaching opportunities. He had a previous job that he backed away from. Remember, he was hired by the Charlie Hornets. I
Yes,
think was it a day
yes,
or 2 days before he said, "Yeah, never
yeah,
mind. I'm gonna go win a title with the Warriors as an assistant coach."
yeah. That's a that's I mean that's unfortunate for the Hornets because I felt like he would have been a great fit for that team, but you know,
I think so too. But we'll see how he fits now with the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's I don't watch so much Cavaliers basketball, but I do know that there's talent, right? And I know Evan
yes,
Mobley, Darius Garland, depending what they do. It I don't know. I Right now I'm gonna make a prediction. I'm gonna say that Donovan Mitchell leaves the Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't know why. I don't
yeah.
know why.
That's interesting. You mentioned that because I want to. I'm keeping an eye on that in particular, and then the reason why because I've looked at several trends of his energy, and I'm thinking about James Harden in particular. If you look at his history of the teams that he sort of kind of not really gave up on him, but he didn't want to be with anymore, he has his way of having the team get rid of him, trade him. Like with the Rockets, for example. I mean, it was unfortunate he only played a few games with Silas, right? But their energies
Yeah.
didn't match, and I think he sort of felt that right away. He was like, something about this coach. Not only that he's a rookie coach, but I felt like that's another thing that he kind of didn't like. So he's like, I'm gone. Let me just go somewhere else or trade me. And he said what he said in that press conference where Rockets finally said, "Hey, all right, you're done." But I'm curious to see what Donovan Mitchell is gonna do because Virgos they make very careful decisions. So, but their decision making process is so it's so what's that word where they pick up on every single scenario possible
Mm.
to kind of get every single detail, so he's going through every single scenario right now, probably say, hey, should I sign this? Hey, but there's money, but there's also money there involved, so money talks, right? But
Yeah,
I'm curious
yeah,
to
for
see
sure.
how it pans out. Well, I'm gonna keep an eye out with that one.
I mean, I know I make that prediction. Of course, if we look at the news, they're confident that they're going to be able to hire, not hire, sorry, sign Donovan Mitchell to an extension, right, worth up to 209 million. So I could be completely wrong. And look, I think if Donovan Mitchell were to stay, I think we're looking at what a possible 4-1 lineup maybe is where Mitchell will be the odd man out, or would it be more
Yeah,
3-2?
well, because I've also heard rumors about Donovan Mitchell. If he was to stay, he would love for Jared Allen to stay. Now, Jared Allen's a Taurus cusp, right? He's a mix
Oof,
of a Taurus
yeah,
Aries. He's on that cusp, but that's one of his favorite energies. Since it's ironic because they are very
yeah.
compatible, right?
Cancer
But
Taurus, yeah. I mean Virgo
exactly,
Taurus, yeah.
Virgo Taurus, right? But overall, I mean, it'd still be a 3-2 lineup because assuming Jared Allen would start, but I'm curious to see what moves they might make. This offseason because Evan Mobley can hold that center position. If they do
Hmm.
if they do something like that and make it like sort of like that 4-1 lineup, maybe move Okoro in the starting lineup and then just have Donovan Mitchell, that could work. That could work. But Donovan Mitchell would have to buy in, and he would have to understand Atkinson's energy and kind of, they kind of have to kind of just sacrifice, and kind of see where because that's their best player right now, and he pretty much holds the key to their success. So
I will say, you know what? I'm gonna make another prediction. I'm gonna forget my other prediction.
mhm.
Donovan gonna sign. I think the Cavs are gonna be successful because one thing I think we're forgetting is that Geminis and Virgos are mutual signs, right? Now,
Mutable, yes,
so maybe that could come in play. I know maybe
yes,
that Donovan Mitchell has a Cancer moon that maybe could impact it, right? But I think
correct.
if they're both mutuals, maybe they might work it out. I think because I mean, come on,
Exactly. Yes.
Stars don't just fall out of the trees, right? Like, I mean, you have a good
Exactly,
really good player, so you definitely want to make it work, But sometimes it just doesn't work. So so you got to make trades. And one trade that happened was the Chicago Bulls traded Alex Caruso. Alex Caruso, who I've always been a fan of, Alex Caruso. And the Bulls received Josh Giddey. Thunder received Alex Caruso, and I think this is almost, I think, a win-win for both teams. I think you've been all over this trade on Twitter that Alex Caruso is just perfect for this Thunder's team. Not just even if you take the synergy away from it, even just playing styles, right? But when you add the synergy, you think this is an A++. How many plus would you give this trade? How many A pluses?
I think it's a great pickup for the Thunder. Definitely an A+. I think. I think whenever I analyzed the Thunder before the season started, I pinpointed Giddey in particular that he didn't fit this core, and I knew, I had a feeling that Chet Holmgren and SGA were going to connect. That Cancer Taurus relationship it's a strong synergy, right? SGA being a Cancer, Chet Holmgren being a Taurus, so I got a sense that they were going to connect on Chet's first year, right? But when I saw Giddey in there, I'm like, well, along with two other Aries and Dort, because Dort is a cusp. Really, he's really a cusp of an Aries cusp. And then you have Jalen Williams, who's also an Aries. So they had a lot of cardinal energy. So the way I thought about it's like, well, I think Giddey's going to be the odd man out, right? Because one, their play style, you consider that, of course, right? And then his energy doesn't mesh well with what the other energy surrounding them. But sure enough, look, he's a player that ends up, getting traded, because if he fits, they wouldn't have traded him, right? But it was obvious. But the player in Alex Caruso was the right player that they got in return. I mean, he's a perfect fit. Coach Diagonal, am I saying his name right? He's a Pisces as well. He's a Pisces as well. So is Alex Caruso, Pisces with the Libra moon. So he's sort of like that communicative lead, that vocal leader out on the court. So that's that type of energy that you're going to get, and also a veteran, and that's a good thing because they need that. They're a young team. They're one of the biggest teams in the NBA. So that's another plus. So that's the reason why I feel like it's a great pickup for the Thunder. But keep an eye out. I think it's still a low-key move because I've been keeping an eye out with the Bulls. I feel like they're transitioning their team to a synergy that fits DeRozan finally.
Finally.
If that makes sense, because DeRozan seemed to be that odd man out, right? And they were, but also consider that Lonzo Ball, they had that 4-1 synergy basically. You remember at that one point when Lonzo Ball was healthy, they were like number one in the league. He got injured and everything sort of fell apart, right? Because, Kobe White was the one that sort of took up his minutes, but White is opposite of of Levine, opposite of Vucevic, White being an Aquarius, right? And also that fixed energy wasn't the best synergy with White being with DeRozan sort of. So it wasn't a good match. So the synergy kind of fell apart, right? But interesting that they traded away Caruso, but they got Giddey, a Libra, which is a great fit for DeRozan and Billy Donovan, because Donovan, again, he's a Gemini, right? Gemini Libra. It's a good connection, and that this trio right here is a good trifecta. You have the Leo in DeRozan, you have the Gemini in Donovan, and you have the Libra in Giddey. He's gonna feel comfortable in Chicago, barring what they do with Levine and what they do with Vucevic. Because I have a feeling that there won't be a Bulls uniform this upcoming season, but we'll see. We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know, but I think it's I think one thing's for sure. I think Oklahoma's just going to build on last season. I think Caruso is a player that we're missing. And who's to say that they're done? Let's also remind ourselves that Oklahoma has about a bajillion draft picks, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. Oh my God! Yes.
So they can still make some moves if they wanted to. They have a bajillion picks, but that's the last topic. But one last note before we get out of this episode, we're having a live Twitter, X space, whatever you want to call it, on to watch the first round Zodiac, we're pretty excited. Hopefully, maybe due to the whole lottery picks, we'll see. Maybe do the whole draft, we'll see. But please join us. We're gonna be kicking off right as the draft kicks off. Zodiac, are you excited about that?
I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be a first year we're going to do it this way, and I think bringing in that synergy aspect to the NBA draft, I think that's awesome. I think it's going to be a wonderful thing, and fans are going to see a different view of the players that they draft, and I think there's a lot of sports fans that are always curious, right? Everyone's curious, hey, will this player fit? I mean, just having that sort of anticipation of what their synergy is, and kind of getting a feel like, hey, it could fit, and just kind of, get that sort of analysis in there. So yeah, I'm definitely excited about that. So yeah, everyone keep an eye out for that. It's follow us on Twitter X, Hoopstrology, and also the Zodiac GM. And
follow me. And follow me, Jesus _Acevedo Jr. Follow the Bayesidian, and don't forget to subscribe. See ya.